Greetings to you all in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. The Bible portion for today is taken from the Gospel of Mathew, chapter 23, verse 13 to 22. Here in this passage, Jesus attacks the religious leaders of his day with strong language and addresses them as, "You snakes, you brood of vipers." Verse 33. This language would have come as a complete shock to the people. Our image now of scribes and Pharisees is very different how they were perceived that time. They were highly regarded and respectable people. The scribes were lawyers who preserved and interpreted law and were expert in scriptures and were teachers who gathered pupils around them. On the other hand, the Pharisees were lay people. They prayed and fasted often, attended the services regularly, led upright moral lives and were much admired by the ordinary people. Yet, Jesus criticizes them for being hypocrites. They don't take it into their hearts and live it out in their behavior. Verse 3. Jesus' verse challenges us to introspect our lives and clearly speaks about his expectations. In verse 13 to 15, we clearly see Jesus attacks the religious leaders for putting stumbling blocks in the way of others. He says, "You lock people out of the kingdom of heaven. You won't go in yourselves and you keep others from going in." Leaders need to have the opposite spirit, one that is open and welcoming to everybody. Jesus himself sets an example of compassion. In verse 37, it reads as, "I've often wanted to gather your people, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you wouldn't let me." In verse 16 to 22, we clearly see Jesus attacks the small-mindedness and pettiness of religious leaders. It speaks about the vision leaders should have to direct the people than being misleading. "You are supposed to lead others, but you are blind." Verse 16. You need to concentrate on the important issues, pray for God's vision, and don't be sidetracked. Ask God to give you a vision that is so big that without Him it's impossible. These are extremely high standards and very hard to attain. Jesus' words here as a voice are some of the strongest to come from his mouth. It's important to note that it wasn't addressed to ordinary people, but to the powerful leaders who were seeking to exalt themselves. What is so amazing about Jesus' words is that, humanly speaking, he was in a position of weakness, and yet he was not afraid to take on the powers of his day. There is nothing between sinners and eternal happiness, but their proud and unbelieving and unwillingness. In this Lent, our hearts have this realization, and let us experience the love of God and know that there is nothing greater than Him. Amen.